Creating B2B content, it's probably the hardest type of content to create because it's not humanized, it's not easy. You can't just, set up your camera and start talking on it like this. You've actually got to have a plan and a process in place. For a B2B company, you're going after usually a more intelligent or educated audience. Typically, that is the case at least. And so you need to have content that is going to touch on the things that they're actually looking for and their particular buyer triggers, right? They're both emotional and logical. And you need to have content that also kind of humanizes your brand in a way and doesn't make you look like some big corporation that people can't really resonate with. That's one of the keys here. And one of the biggest mistakes that B2B companies and B2B content strategies make is that they create content that doesn't allow people to resonate with what they are trying to offer. So we've been working with lots of different companies. Most of them are B2B companies, almost all of them actually are B2B companies. We've been winning multi-million-dollar contracts over the last 6 to 12 months for some of these companies. And so I think that I'm able to make a video on this coming from a position of experience. That's not to say that we're the best at doing this, but we've got a nice little process in place that allows B2B companies to resonate with their target audience, humanize their brand a little bit. And of course, the big one, right, is to get the content, push it out in front of the target audience and get them to convert. Because if you're just creating content and it's not doing anything, then you're wasting your time and your money. So you've got to hit all of these triggers. It's got to resonate, it's got to humanize, it's got to convert people into sales. So the way that we do this is through a multi-step process. It's never just very simple, but I'll try and make it as simple as possible for you because it doesn't have to be difficult. I see some of these B2B marketers on LinkedIn and they make things sound so difficult. They've got these huge mind maps. It's so unnecessary to have all this. Business is simple, life is simple, or should at least be simple. You've got this quote, keep it simple, stupid. There's a reason for that because people like to buy from things that they understand or from people that they understand, a product that they understand, etc. So if you make it too complex, it just doesn't make sense and it's going to confuse you. So to keep it as simple as possible, how do you create B2B content that converts into sales? Firstly, you have to create content that is based on the buyer journey. What is a journey that your ideal customers take before they buy from you? If you haven't sold anything before, it's hard to figure that out. If you have, then ideally you can create like a process that will help you understand. There's obviously top of funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. And so, you can go from awareness to consideration to the buying stage. Again, B2B marketers, they break this down to like 12 different parts of the funnel. Super unnecessary. Just think of it like this. If you were going to buy your product or your service, what would be the main things that you would be searching for? What problems would you be trying to solve before you actually buy your product or service? That's one of the best ways I can put it, the most simplest way. Just put yourself in a position of your customer. And so what you're going to want to do is create content that solves those problems along the journey. Top of funnel is important because top of funnel content is going to help you reach the maximum amount of people. It's ultra simplified, ultra easy to understand, and really just targeted to the masses, okay? It's not super specific to a very particular target audience. You want to have something that is, of course, aligned to your product and your service, but you need to have something a little bit more general because it is the reach that allows you to get in front of those people organically that you are trying to sell to, and you want the algorithms to do the brunt of the work. So let's say, for example, when I'm creating videos on my YouTube channel, if I make a very specific video about how to increase your closing rate as a cybersecurity company, that's ultra specific, okay? And it's not necessarily top of funnel. What would be top of funnel would be how to get more appointments for your B2B company. That would probably be a bit more broad, a bit more generalized. So you want to come up with ideas and concepts for topics that are around the top of funnel that are more broad and generalized so that you can reach a much larger audience. The second step is to create middle content. Once you've got those ideas, it's usually going to flow quite nicely into creating the middle content. So once you've got the top of funnel content topics, it's going to naturally flow into middle of the funnel and bottom of the funnel. If you don't know how to do the second and the third, the middle and the bottom, at the very least have lots of top of funnel content because it's going to get you the most amount of reach. But the question is, how do you get people to convert? And how do you humanize your brand? And how do you get your content to resonate to others? There's two ways of doing this. If you are the type of person that wants to be on camera, I would always recommend being on camera rather than just typing content or posting, pictures and carousels and things like that. Because if you're on camera, people can see you and they can know that you are a real person. This is going to be even more important over the next few years as AI becomes more prevalent. Your favorite news anchors are going to be AI generated avatars in the next couple of decades, probably even before that. AI is going to take over when it comes to content, and people are, in a sense, going to prefer listening to people who who are real. They want to be able to identify if you're a real person. Now that might seem crazy right now, but trust me, in the next few years, that is what's going to happen. So you want to make video content so people can see you and your personality. It is also the highest leverage type of content that you can create. It means that when you create one video, let's say a 10-minute video like this or whatever the time is, I can then cut it down into small, short video clips. I can cut it down into quotes, carousels, documents, blog articles. Therefore, it's the highest leverage. If I just wrote a blog article, there's not much I can actually do with it. Whereas with a video, you can repurpose it into multiple little bits and pieces. And this just goes on and on. So if you make like 7 videos a week, you can see how much content you can make over time. You can kind of just visualize that. So that's pretty straightforward as a personal brand, but it means that you as a business owner or a decision maker has to be a content creator, and you don't really get to think big picture, right? It means that your time is spent creating content rather than driving the business forward. And you might not necessarily want to hire someone to be a face of the brand or to be a content creator for your company, because there's a few reasons for that. They might want more money. As your company grows, you have to pay them more money. They might go to a competitor. They could say something silly to ruin your reputation. They get sick, they go on vacation, etc. Again, another reason why a lot of people, a lot of companies, a lot of government, mainstream media, they're going to start using AI as their content creation avatars. Okay, so how can you do that? Right now, the tech isn't quite there. You can kind of deep fake it, but it's not quite there. You can make nice avatars that do look very similar to you, but there's still issues with the way that people look and the way that they move and things like that. It's not as realistic as it could be, and it will be in the next few years. The second option then, whilst you're waiting for that tech, is to create video content that has your voice on it, but doesn't require you to do the voiceovers. You can use AI to clone your voice now, and then you can create scripts around the content that you've drafted for your top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom of funnel, and you can create video content with your voice on it, and then give that script and the voiceover or the cloning software to your video editors, and they can pump out content for you. This is what we're doing at my company. We do this for a lot of clients in the B2B space, cybersecurity, tech, software, healthcare, medical, defense, aerospace, whatever it is. Most of the time, these companies, these big enterprise companies, don't have anyone that has the time to create video content, and they just don't, want to be a content creator themselves, and they don't want to hire someone to do it. They're too big of a company. Like, you can just look at some of these examples. Most of the time, these companies will actually have a mascot or something like that. So we're just taking that concept of mascot and actually creating real life avatars, or taking the decision makers, multiple decision makers from the team, cloning their voice, and then creating video content around their expertise so it sounds like them. And what you can do now with your video editors is create video content using AI generation tools like Midjourney. And so now if you animate those videos or those images into videos, it means that you're creating very unique content that is humanized, because you as the decision maker or multiple decision makers are speaking on the video, or you can create, like a brand mascot that speaks on the video so people become familiar with it. And you're creating content that can resonate with people because it has that humanized feel, and you're creating content that actually helps people solve small problems. Top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel, etc. And if you do this for long enough and you put this content across different social media channels, you're going to end up building an audience and creating a level of social proof that will set you apart from every other company out there. The way that you get people to convert is by making sure that you have the social proof. If someone gets approached by your sales team, the first thing they're going to do is look at your social media profiles, look at your website, look at your company, do some research. If they see that your social media and the content that you're producing is attracting a large audience, it means that you have social proof. So they're going to be much more likely to spend some time at least researching your company a little bit further, maybe even booking a sales call. If you don't have that stuff in place, you're going to struggle, because you're just going to look like any other company out there. It might even potentially look like a bit of a scammer, depending on what kind of company you have and what product or service you're selling. It's not just B2C that can scam other people, right? There's a lot of B2B companies out there that pose like they're from certain locations and are actually from another locations, and you don't know who the decision makers are. You don't really know what you're buying. It happens. There's a lot of them out there. So you definitely don't want to cut out that trust. You want to be able to manufacture the trust with content, the audience, and the social proof that you get off the back of the audience. Now, when you're creating the content itself, a lot of it is just going to be designed to get attention, so that you can build the audience and the social proof. But certain videos, certain pieces of content will be designed to sell. So how do you create the content that converts people into customers? When you're posting images or carousels or blog articles, they can always come with a call to action. So you can put calls to action in the comments so it doesn't affect the algorithm. And the calls to action can be links to other pieces of content that will help people solve the next problem, or it can be links to your video sales letters and your sales assets that pre-sell people before they book appointments, so that when they book an appointment, they're pretty much ready to go. So you can actually send people from different pieces pieces of content to other pieces of content. And that's how you sell. You don't always want to put call to actions in the videos, because if you do that, you just come across as a bit salesy, as a little bit cheesy. So instead, what you want to do is create a video on a particular topic, solving a particular problem, and then figure out what will be the next thing that they're going to struggle with, and add that into the comments or into the description of the video or at the end of the blog article, so that they can find out more information and do their own personal research. Everyone wants to be in control of the buyer journey. This is how the world has changed over the last few years. Before, most businesses would ram their products and services down people's throats, relentlessly follow up, and because there wasn't a lot of internet usage, most people didn't do a whole lot of research online. It meant that you could kind of fake your way to being successful. Nowadays you can't. You need to have the social proof and the audience, you need to have the content infrastructure in place, and you need to have the right sales assets to get people to buy. So if you thought this video was valuable, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.